American President Donald Trump is in some serious trouble. Michael Cohen, a former lawyer of the president, told a federal court that he is guilty of committing serious financial crimes. Cohen pleaded guilty to 8 charges, including election finance violations. But the charge that could put the U.S. president in trouble is this one. Cohen says that he paid hush money to 2 women with whom Donald Trump allegedly had affairs. And all this was done on Trump's direction. Michael Cohen was a fixer for Donald Trump for the longest time. He handled some of his most sensitive personal matters for more than a decade. Cohen had once even said that he would take a bullet for his boss. He's now set to go to jail. So what does all of this mean? It means that Cohen has admitted to arranging payments to 2 women who have caused some damage to the Trump campaign back in 2016. He confessed to paying porn star Stormy Daniels $130,000 and former Playboy model Karen McDougal $150,000. Cohen said, and I'm quoting, that he did this in coordination with and at the direction of a candidate for federal office. It's quite clear that he's referring to the current US President, Donald Trump. Is buying somebody's silence a crime, you may ask? In America, it is. Donald Trump tried to bury embarrassing stories. And for that, he made undisclosed payments. And this is illegal in American elections. You must share how much money you spend and on what. So when Cohen says that he made payments on Trump's orders, he's directly implicating the president. And that's very bad news for Donald Trump. But it gets worse. Almost in Hollywood style, a parallel story ran yesterday. In a separate trial in Virginia, former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort was found guilty of multiple charges of fraud. He committed bank fraud. He lied about the income he received while working as a lobbyist for the government of Ukraine. Now, this case is not directly connected to the Trump campaign, but the problem is that the investigators are the same, the ones who are handling the Russia probe. Special counsel Robert Mueller is leading the team. They must find out if Russia meddled in American presidential election. Add 2 and 2. Paul Manafort was Trump's campaign manager. His conviction in another case could be used as a bargaining chip. The investigators will zero in on Donald Trump. And that has the US president very worried. This is possibly the biggest crisis of his presidency, but the American president tried to appear unfazed. Listen in.
Yeah, it's too bad. I feel badly for both. I must tell you that Paul Manafort's a good man. He was with Ronald Reagan. He was with a lot of different people over the years, and I feel very sad about that. It doesn't involve me, but I still feel, it's a very sad thing that happens. This has nothing to do with Russian collusion. This started as Russian collusion. This has absolutely nothing to do. This is a witch hunt, and it's a disgrace.
He keeps saying that it's a witch hunt. So what happens next? Legally, Michael Cohen and Paul Manafort are staring at long jail terms. But Cohen has already struck a deal for a lighter sentence in exchange for his court testimony. Still, he could be looking at a 3 to 5 year jail term if American media reports are to be believed. As for Paul Manafort, he could be sentenced to more than 30 years in prison. He is due to undergo another criminal trial in Washington next month, and he could face additional punishment, but he could try to lessen his sentence by cooperating. He is close to 70 years old already. The US president could pardon his former aides, but such pardons could increase Donald Trump's own legal troubles, and he could potentially be charged for obstruction of justice and for abuse of power. He may not want to do that. For now, he is implicated. Remember, a sitting US president cannot be indicted or criminally charged. Donald Trump could face a lawsuit the moment he leaves office. Nothing so far. But there is a possibility that the opposition could try to initiate impeachment proceedings against him. These latest disclosures against Trump could hurt the Republicans in the upcoming midterm elections. If the Democrats manage to win back the majority in the House of Representatives, they could get a chance to initiate impeachment proceedings against President Trump. The process of impeachment, remember, is always initiated by the House of Representatives, so winning that will be very important for the opposition. But the Republicans at the moment control both chambers of the US Congress, and that's how things stand. Controversies, we know, are a loyal shadow of Donald Trump. From the time he took oath as America's president to this day, a day has rarely passed when Trump hasn't made headlines for all the wrong reasons. We examine his tryst with troubles in the White House.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
20th January 2017. Donald J. Trump took oath as America's 45th president.
The Constitution of the United States.
Within months, his approval ratings plunged. 21st August 2018. He had his worst day in office. For any president, that's too early.
Yeah, it's too bad. I feel badly for both. I must tell you that Paul Manafort's a good man. He was with Ronald Reagan. He was with a lot of different people over the years, and I feel very sad about that. It doesn't involve me, but I still feel, it's a very sad thing that happens. This has nothing to do with Russian collusion. This started as Russian collusion. This has absolutely nothing to do. This is a witch hunt, and it's a disgrace. But this has nothing to do what they started out, looking for Russians involved in our campaign. There were none. I feel very badly for Paul Manafort. Again, he worked for Bob Dole, he worked for Ronald Reagan, he worked for many, many people. And this is the way it ends up. And it was not the original mission, believe me. It was something very much different. So, had nothing to do with Russian collusion. We continue the witch hunt. Thank you very much.
Trump knows he's in deep trouble. But this is not the first time when he's flirting with bad days in the White House. The controversy of alleged Russian meddling in America's 2016 elections has refused to let go of Trump. Earlier this month, Robert Mueller, the man who's heading the team investigating the case, wanted to ask President Trump about obstruction of justice in the case. Imagine the president is under the spotlight for obstruction of justice. It's because for months President Donald Trump has relentlessly attacked the Russia probe, and then came this tweet. He asked Attorney General Jeff Sessions to stop the investigation. And this reignited the question whether Trump's actions would amount to obstruction of justice or not. And this has ignited the debate over indicting American presidents. But being indicted isn't the real problem. It's the impeachment. Even worse, this is the third time in less than 2 years that there's such a strong buzz about the president's impeachment. His alleged relations with porn stars, policy on travel ban, stance on immigration and foreign policy and other issues have already brought his presidency under the scanner. He survived all storms, but this double whammy may be the proverbial last straw. Will the man who made a career out of firing people keep his job as America's president?
And now you can say, you're fired.
Bureau Report, WION.
Donald Trump would be joining a very small presidential club if he is indeed impeached. Before listing the members, let's tell you who qualifies for impeachment in America. Impeachment happens when a high official is accused of serious wrongdoing. According to Article 1 and 2 of the American Constitution, the president, the vice president, and all civil officers of the country can be impeached. There are 3 impeachable offenses: treason, bribery, and high crimes and misdemeanor. Impeachment is basically a trial of any civil official, including the president. And this happens without a judge, a jury, or a prosecutor. The process has to be started by the White House, by the House of Representatives, and only needs a simple majority to pass. The trial will be held in the Senate. In this case, a 2/3 vote is necessary, and such a thing has never happened in America's history.